Thank you. My name is Sharon Damoff, Mukilteo. Thanks for the chance to speak to you today. I wanted to express my thoughts about the proposed land acknowledgement statement. In general, I'm not a fan of acknowledgement statements, especially if they were to be read at every meeting, because they take valuable time and single out only one group over and over. And someone might be thinking, it takes only a minute or two, but remember, the public is allowed only 3 minutes to speak on current topics to be voted upon. So, however, I do think it's entirely appropriate to read a statement expressing friendship and respect for our neighboring tribal communities in the beginning of the year. I'm pleased to see that the opening sentence in the proposed statement has been changed from what was presented some months ago, and this new version I think is much better. I would just suggest that the word original in original inhabitants of this area should be changed to perhaps first known, because we do not truly know who the very original inhabitants were. We do know that the nature of human inhabitation everywhere on earth, including here, has been an ongoing cycle of people replacing people, one people group replacing another people group. Then the sentence that starts, as a city, we commit to being honest about the legacy of colonization, stands out. That clause is a tell that the goal of a particular statement is not mainly to show honor and respect to our neighboring tribal communities, which again is a goal I support. It reveals that another goal is to imply America is bad in regard to people of color. I object to that, because actually America is very good. It's obvious that America is good because people of color from around the world risk their lives to come here. In just the last 20 months, some 5 million people, the vast majority of them people of color, have poured across our southern border because they want to live in this very good country. America does have the blot of slavery in its past, but so does virtually every human society that has existed, including the American indigenous people. And a shocking number of societies still practice slavery even now, whereas America abolished slavery at a great cost of life. And I'll just note that the first anti-slavery society in the world was started in America in Philadelphia, 1775. It's also not clear exactly what is meant by, in that last sentence, we commit to bringing about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society. Certainly, any members of the tribes are already welcome to speak at any city council meeting, the same as any member of the public. So their voices are welcome to be heard. But what specifically is that proposed statement?
Thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you for your comment. We're unfortunately out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Next. I invite the next public comment.
Hi, my name is Jeff Hall. I live in Mukilteo, and I've had quite an experience working in King County and Seattle with regard to the diversity issues and also other initiatives that educated the employees about the whole advent of discrimination and profiling and things like that. That, you know, kind of a history of discrimination in the U.S. And so I would recommend that you explore both those policies. Now, King County has a very detailed policy with regard to diversity and equity. And again, I'm not a big fan of any of those, because I think when in the working areas, my employment in King County and in Seattle, there is a great respect for everybody, and we do accomplish a high level of respect and dignity. And I did participate in the effort to recognize and detail the history of our native peoples here, and which is somewhat a good thing. But I would also then like to, if you're going to explore that into things, then let's return to teaching the details and the history of our Declaration of Independence and our U.S. Constitution, because we seem to have overlooked those very important aspects. And there are new aspects of discrimination, like political and reverse discrimination toward others, and that we need to really take seriously the aspect of some of these programs being opportunities to recreate discrimination toward people who have provided the foundation of this country. I mean, we're all willing to take responsibility for our actions and for our behavior. But it's difficult to take responsibility for your actions and behavior of 400, 500, and 600 years ago. We certainly need to recognize the disaster and the trauma and the abuse and the reality that Native peoples went through, like the African American community. We need to acknowledge that, certainly, in all its important factual detail, but we also need to understand that we're still fighting discrimination within our present day, and the most recent example is discrimination with regard to the vaccination. I lost my job because I chose to defend my right of I was discriminated against. There's no reason for that.
Thank you very much. Next.
Greetings, my name is Jason Moore. Greetings to the board here. I would like to discuss the 2045 Diversity Explained articles that was posted for this commission, I believe, on the website, diversityexplained.com. They asked the question, is white fragility a helpful concept? And then I have some notes about that I kind of honed in on of these articles here. They discuss white fragility is quickly accepted as fact. I don't believe that's true. America has a history of white supremacy and the effects of systematic racism. Another topic they talked about was original sin of racism. Some of these things that are kind of stated as fact in here, I don't necessarily agree that they're factual. And then they say white fragility is describing an unconscious bias. I don't know how they could claim that. I think maybe we should have a discussion about that. Then they say white people tactfully enable white supremacy to operate under the radar, which I don't agree with either. Then they talked about George Floyd in here, and they brought up George Floyd. Well, they like to use George Floyd as an example on why America is, why they believe America is this way. Well, George Floyd was a violent criminal and a drug addict. I mean, he had 9 charges on his rap sheet. So if they want to use George Floyd as an example of these policies that the city's gonna enact or enforce or adopt, I don't think that's a very good example to use. Next, they talk about Latinx, I'm not sure how to properly pronounce that, but and Hispanic Heritage Month. The Spanish and Portuguese speaking people, their language is a masculine and feminine language. This is in the root of their culture. And I know because I have a fiance who's from Brazil. She's Brazilian and she speaks Portuguese. They found, and they even admit in this paper, in one of these articles.
Thank you very much for your comment. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Thank you.